Well, that's
So I
the
don't
thing,
know.
though.
Just
That's
kind
the
of
thing,
depends.
though, Jen, is that like you've been on this, like I said at the beginning of the pod, you've been on this game for a long time. Effective communication is something that you practice,
Yeah, I
right?
try.
This is
Yeah.
something that you can discern, and you can make a distinction between what is fact and what is fiction, right? The fact is anger happens in the moment, and to stick with that anger in the moment requires a lot of courage for people, because that means that you respond to the specific situation, what that specific situation calls. And responding to fiction is people that when they get angry, they sort of lose track of what's in the moment, and they're responding to all of these different other angers and all of these different injustices that they've experienced in their life, and it all comes out. I'm talking about people that shout at each other. I'm talking about people that get to a certain point where they completely lose their shit. Like, I'm talking worst case scenario, because this is what we have to sort of tackle it from,
Mm-hmm.
right? So me and you, we have these ways of going about our anger because this is a practice for me and you. But
Yeah.
I'm talking about like at the very basis of this, like, what does it look like to somebody that completely loses their shit to anger and hurts other people and destroys other people? It's falling asleep to the truth of what's happening in the moment, and you're falling victim to your projection of what either somebody's doing to you or what that situation means, when in reality, anger, when you feel it, is just an emotion, and you get to choose how you want to interpret that. Whether or not you interpret it in a negative way or a positive way or a learning opportunity sort of way is really up to you. But a lot of people don't realize they have the choice in those moments, because it's hard to take a step back and be like, okay, what is it that I'm going through right now? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I just think about, like, for both you and I, we have a lot of childhood trauma surrounding anger and being around people that were capable of getting really angry and shouting and, being at a 10. So I think from that trauma, both you and I are not able to achieve that because we know how scary it is.
Oh yeah,
It's really
absolutely.
scary to see someone lose their shit.
Yeah. Why do people, this is what I'm thinking about. Why do people shout when they're angry?
I don't
And
know.
this was my perspective. This is something that I was thinking about the other day. When we become emotionally disconnected from one another, we feel extremely far away from
Yeah,
the person that we're talking to.
it's true.
So we unconsciously convince ourselves that the other person is far away, right? Like, we don't feel connected to them. They feel miles and miles away. And
Yeah.
maybe in order for them to hear us, we feel like we need to shout. That's how
Okay.
disconnected we feel from another person.
That
It
makes
is, it's
sense.
somehow in our mind, we feel so disconnected that we feel like we have to shout in order to get our message across. And
To
at the
reach
same
them.
time,
Hmm.
when two people are in love, for example, they feel connected and close. They talk softly towards each other. The distance between them is null. It almost doesn't exist at all. So that's the reason why I think lovers, people that are really in love, it does something to you. You start talking softer. There's no reason to shout because you're so close. Like, you feel so connected to each other. There's
Right.
no reason to raise your voice. You feel
Yeah.
close.